A lot of things are happening in wrestling, so we're going to jump into it. As always, timestamps down below. First, we're kicking off with Brian Pillman Jr., as you guys can see here. Some very interesting stuff was said recently on Counted Out. Brian Pillman Jr. basically came out and said that he wishes he had been part of the Owen Hart Cup tournament. And look, he was pretty upset about it. He says, yeah, I mean, I'll just go ahead and say it straight up that I wish I was in it. I wasn't too upset about it at first. Obviously, there's a lot of great talent in there and a lot of people that were on a whole other level to me. And I know that Tony Khan put on some great matches and stuff. But looking back, I just wish that he had viewed me in a better way to want to use me for it. In my opinion, it was a no-brainer. Now, honestly, this is going to become a common trend in AEW when talent are left off of special tournaments, special moments, and things like that. And obviously, that is one of the biggest issues with these wrestling companies that have bloated rosters. Whether you're talking about WWE or AEW, it is no coincidence. When you sign more talent, when you have more talent readily available, not everybody can be used within the amount of time that they have for television. So Brian Pillman Jr. being a little bit upset by this or being bothered by this, it's not all too shocking. Now, one thing I would recommend for AEW, especially going forward, is to try and use these tournaments as a way to use the tournaments in a way to help build future stars. Adam Cole was an established star. Britt Baker was an established star. And while I think the tournament was good in terms of the wrestling matches and everything, I think ultimately you want to use these as a way to propel talent. And it's one of my biggest complaints about King of the Ring. I feel like WWE had Xavier Woods win King of the Ring, and then nothing really came out of it. Same thing with Queen Zelina. So WWE and AEW should use tournaments, Money in the Bank, Royal Rumble, things like that could be used to actually build stars instead of giving it to people who are already established. I think the audience will definitely catch on when they see a new up-and-comer win something that is supposed to be special. So Brian Pillman Jr. being upset or bothered by it is not all too shocking. Hopefully this doesn't become an issue for the next Owen Hart Cup tournament. And I really hope when AEW crowns the first ever Trios champions, they also learn from this and try to put over a great Trios team. I know Tony Khan is all about ratings and all about business metrics and stuff like that. And 100%, that's how you have to be when you are a business owner. But ultimately, at the same time, you can't think for just right now. You have to think long term. And that is something I think Tony Khan will probably end up changing or at least considering next time when they do a tournament. Now, I would love to talk about NXT because it appears that NXT will be going through a pretty big change. So for those who are unaware of the situation, there is this belief that WWE NXT will kind of transform back to the old way of NXT. At least according to Meltzer, there seems to be some sort of plan here where Triple H and WWE will somewhat try to revert back to the old black and gold brand. Now, does that mean by removing the 2.0 from the name, changing the logo, the colors, presentation, or just simply creative? We don't really have all the details on this, but I think it is really important that WWE, whether it's SmackDown, Raw, NXT, main event, whatever it may be, I think the idea here is to try to come up with a product and a presentation that is going to satisfy both the hardcore audience and, of course, the casual audience. And I don't know what percentage of their audience is made up of both or how some people determine what's casual and what's hardcore. But I think WWE is in a situation where they should really try to make everybody happy. And according to Triple H at the SummerSlam media scrums, he told people, he was asked about this from Nick Hausman from Wrestling Inc. And he says, look, you got to watch the show. You know, I do not dream for 1 second that I can fill those big shoes. Obviously, he's talking in reference to Vince McMahon. It's going to take a lot of us. It's going to take a team. It's going to take everybody here to fill those shoes and continue on, but we will. And basically what Triple H is talking about is, you know, this is a very, very difficult task. They're all going to grind. They have a lot of things that they want to do. And he also says that we are going to make sure that fans get everything they want out of this product and some. And so when you look at the overall scope of WWE, when you look at Raw and SmackDown, you know, NXT kind of reverting back to the old way would be a step in the right direction because I really like the emphasis on characters and storylines. But of course, as I have said for so long, that's not the end all be all, which is one of my biggest issues with AEW because AEW could really do both. You know, if you look at AEW's skill, they're actually really good at writing stories, but they lack consistency. So if both of these companies essentially can just focus on good stories, good wrestling, good logic, I think both of these companies are going to be really good, and I think that's really important for both companies to be really good. I think when one is bad, the other one kind of becomes bad in a sense. So, there's nothing wrong with two good wrestling companies at the top of the mountain. I think it makes a lot of sense for NXT to kind of revert a little bit to the old ways. But I will also say, I enjoy NXT 2.0, and I think they've done a really solid job, but you have to do a little bit more. This is just simply not enough. And I look forward to seeing some of the changes that they're going to make, and how soon those changes will happen. I really just don't know exactly just yet. But of course, we got to talk about this because now there seems to be something else that could be happening. And that is, of course, Johnny Gargano's WWE return. So we all know that, Johnny Gargano took some time away from WWE. He wasn't released or anything like that. He was very adamant about his great experiences in WWE, but he kind of felt like he achieved a lot in NXT and there was way more that he wanted to do. So we haven't really seen him since. Yeah, he did a couple appearances here and there, but we haven't seen Johnny Gargano in AEW. We did see him in Impact on a video package thing, but other than that, we haven't really seen the future of Johnny Gargano being determined. Now, Slice Wrestling has come out with a report that Triple H is looking to bring back Johnny Gargano, and they want to push him on the main roster. So we don't know if Johnny Gargano for sure will join WWE, but based on his relationship with Triple H, I think it's really safe to say that Johnny Gargano coming to WWE would make a lot of sense. And under Triple H's vision, I think Johnny Gargano coming to WWE is going to be a massive deal. Now, I also want to point out that I did put out a tweet the other day, just kind of fantasy booking some stuff, and a lot of people actually seem to enjoy this idea. Seth Rollins and Matt Riddle was pulled off of SummerSlam. I think you could kind of reenact the whole thing with Seth Rollins from WrestleMania, but this time I would actually just have him simply hijack the show at SummerSlam. I'm not leaving till I get a match. I almost missed WrestleMania. Now I'm being pulled from SummerSlam. I can't handle this. I can't take this. I'm Seth frickin' Rollins, blah, 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 blah. And then out comes his challenger, Johnny Gargano. And if Triple H were to pull this off, I think a lot of people would be happy. And I think it's going to be a really good transition point for WWE going forward. I imagine a 20-plus minute match between Johnny Gargano and Seth Rollins will get quite the reaction. And it's immediately going to put Johnny Gargano in a situation where I think people will automatically know that there is a serious push behind him. And then, of course, Triple H is going to be challenged here because if Triple H doesn't push Johnny Gargano, and it kind of comes off like a Vince McMahon situation, I think a lot of people will question Triple H's skill and everything from that. Anyways, I want to know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Do you want to see Johnny Gargano this weekend at SummerSlam? There is a very good possibility as WWE is trying to make his return happen. Let me know what you guys think down below.